Hi everyone, and welcome to another family art project today. I'm Autumn, the education coordinator here for Studio 23. And if you got to catch the earlier segment with Val, you saw that we are featuring the art of artist Douglas Barron. And if you got to see any of the pieces, you saw that he is a beautiful oil painter, and he seems to be very inspired by nature. So today, I thought we would try and create a oil painting-esque painting for families. Oil paints, while they are beautiful and they're great to work with, they're not always so great for kids. Sometimes some of that stuff can be a little dangerous, for children. And so I thought, well, let's come up with something a little different, but along the same lines. And one of the most beautiful things about oil painting is you can get beautiful texture, absolutely beautiful texture out of it. So I came up with this project. Show you. It is, it's actually just acrylic paint, and you can use any old kind of craft paints that you have at home. And I was able to get a lot of texture just by adding sand to it, regular old play sand that you would get from like Lowe's or Home Depot. So this is what we're gonna create. We're gonna create a faux oil painting inspired by the work of artist Douglas Barron. For supplies, what you will need is not too much today. I'm working on cardstock because I don't want paint to go through my paper. You could use cardboard, an old cereal box, anything you might have around the house. I'm really just gonna be using two paintbrushes. One of them is a nice flat paintbrush, and then the other one, you can see it's just a little tiny round brush. Since I'm doing a winter scene, the colors I picked are white, blue, yellow. I picked a couple different greens, brown, really just colors that you would find in nature is all you're gonna need to use. And then just a little bit of play sand. Honestly, I think I've even seen little bags of this at the dollar store. So this is a pretty inexpensive project. But what you're gonna do is you're gonna load up your palette with your paint colors that you want, and then you're just gonna scoop in. I would say for each color, I probably scooped in about, I don't know, maybe a tablespoon and a half of sand into each color. And then I've just mixed it in just so you don't see the sand anymore. You can see that there. So that's basically what I did with all my paint colors. Mixed in a little sand, pretty easy. And then I'll show you really quickly how we can paint this scene. Oh, you also probably will want to have some water to clean off your brush, and of course paper towels, because paint does tend to get a little messy. All right, so we will go ahead, and since I already have the sand mixed into my paint, I will adjust the cameras really quickly and we will get going. So, like I said, we're working off of this. This is our example. I have my paint all mixed. I'm ready to go. Let's see if I can scooch this a little. All right. So to start with, I'm going to start with my larger flat brush, okay? And I'm not going to get too careful with this because you can see there's a lot of texture, and so there's a little bit of, I don't want to say messiness to it, but a little bit of messiness to it, and that's okay, it's intentional. So we're just gonna go right in, and we're gonna scoop up some white, and I'll start brushing that on, and I'm gonna scoop up some blue, and we're just gonna blend it out. Because I want a lighter blue color, I don't want it to be too dark. And I'm gonna keep adding some white to that. And I'm gonna try and spread that out from one side of my paper to the other. I want nice broad strokes. And you can see I'm already picking up some nice texture, so that's great. All right, let's see. Scoop up a little more. You might notice with this that you do have to use a little more paint, but that's okay. All right. I think that's good. And then we'll wipe off just a little bit, just so we're not putting blue in the snow down in the bottom, in the foreground. And we'll just go right in with our white, and we'll just start brushing that in. All right, so that is our background. All right, I don't think I'm gonna clean off my brush much. I'm just gonna go in now with some brown, and I'm gonna create the trunk of this large tree. It's right here. And instead of holding my brush flat and using the widest part of it, I'm gonna go in to kind of draw with the side so it's thinner. I'll show you exactly what I mean. Go in with my brown, and I'm just gonna go in. And it's gonna start a little bit wider than what it's gonna end up. All right. Fill that in. I think we're good. And then I'm gonna do a couple of little trees back here in the background too. Good enough. Now for this tree, I'm gonna go in with a little brown first before I go in with the, whoops. Before I go in with the leaves. All right, well that's okay. And I'm just gonna, and so now I'm gonna hold my brush sort of on its side like this. And I'm almost using it, I guess you could think of it like using it like a stamp. So I'm gonna go in, and I'm just gonna start tapping to create the branches on this tree. And I'm using brown first just so I can give a little bit of depth to this tree. Since this tree is in the foreground, it's nice to be able to get a little bit of darkness there underneath. And that's why I'm doing that. And we don't even have to do we don't even have to do both sides if we want. We can mix it up because it is a tree, it's organic, which is kind of nice. All right, so we got some brown down. We're gonna go over top, and I'm not even gonna wash my brush off. I'm gonna do it the same way, and I'm just gonna start tapping in some dark green. You don't have to cover all of the brown if you don't want to. It's actually kind of nice if you don't. Because then, like I said, it adds that little bit of depth in color. But you can start filling in a little more of the tree now if you want. But don't be afraid to really load your brush up with paint. We want to give it that really thick, painterly style. You know, I think it kind of helps to lend to that impressionist look, and also you know, starting to look a little more like Doug's work. You can tell that there is some inspiration there from Impressionist work. At least there appears to be anyway. All right. And I think that's good. Yeah, good enough. Okay. So I'm gonna go in again the same way with these little trees, but instead of using my brush like this, I'm gonna turn it again like that because I just wanna do little, I don't want to get it too big. And I didn't add my brown. I can do that now if I want though. I'm gonna do the same exact thing though to my little trees. I'll go back in with brown, with green, excuse me. All right. Now, if you want, you can also go in with a little bit of the light green and just kind of touch on some of the, maybe the parts of the trees that would see a little more light. Up to you. It is nice when you can add just a little more color to some areas. It really does help add that depth, you know. And again, I'm back to holding my brush like this, and I'm almost just like patting it, almost like it's a stamp. A very crude stamp. Right, do just a little bit over here on these guys. All right, then I'm gonna wipe my brush off because I do want to add a little bit of white just to make it look like snow. So I'm gonna go in with some white, and I'm kind of gonna just do it the same exact way I went in with that green. I'm just gonna go in and just scoop up some white and just kind of tap it on there. I just want it to look like it's sitting on top of branches. And see, it's going on pretty thick, but I want that because it's gonna give me, like I said, a little more of that painterly style, and it's gonna look a little more like oil painting. So that's really fun for kids. Kids love to have the different, you know, style of paints. They love, you know, this is a little more tactile. So that might also get them a little more interested in it. You know, there's a lot of advantages to mixing up the kind of paint you have them work with. All right, good enough. We'll add a little bit of white on these. Let's see. All right. So those are some really easy trees, right? I think anybody could do it. Would be a super fun family project to do. I will go in really quickly and we'll add a little bit of a sun. I'm going to take some yellow and some white. Or is this the moon? I think this is actually the moon. And because I'm using this flat brush, I can literally just press it down and make a nice little circle just like that. And then from there, if you want to go in and take some of your white, you can make some clouds like I did. Don't be afraid to make it nice and thick, you know. That's the intention of using this kind of paint, right? You can make some clouds. You take some white and you could even add more snow down here by the trees, maybe some snow drifts. And then you could even go in with the small brush if you would like. And you could even add a little animal. If you see, like I decided to just put a little deer in there. And I just used light brown, and he's not too detailed. It's really almost just like a silhouette of him, except for he's a light brown color. But that is our Douglas Barron inspired faux oil painting project. This is also nice because it's snow, it kind of reminiscent of the holidays, and as you saw in the earlier segment with Val, Douglas also does some holiday inspired pieces. So I hope you enjoyed this project. I hope you go home this weekend and try it out with your family. Of course, we would love to see it if you do. That is it for me today, and next up we actually have Val again, and she will be doing another artist project. I hope you guys have an absolutely fantastic weekend, and we will see you soon. Bye.